everybody, and we are back. This is Your Turn podcast, and of course, your host, if in case you forgot, Tanya and
Joel.
We have a very special guest today, close to home, but I won't be introducing him, and I'll let Joel do the drill. So I hope you're all excited because he's going to share his dark side stories, his past, present, and of course, the future dreams. And I can't wait to hear this. So, buckle up. You're in for the ride again, guys.
A long time ago in the living room, not so far away, one dad battled perfectionism, fatherhood, and a dangerously high Blu-ray bill. Today on Your Turn podcast, he's taking us to the dark side. He's a husband, a twin, a collector, a dad, and maybe, just maybe, a little bit of Sith. Are we ready for the dark side?
Yes, we are ready for that, Joel. And let's all welcome my husband, Martin McCarthy.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. How are the both of you?
Doing very well. Yep, but thank you very much for your patience. I know we had a lot of technical issues on set, but here we are. You know, we're all learning and we are all, plowing through it. But
Better late than never.
yes, of course. Let's give them a preface of who you are. So if you are going to describe yourself as a movie genre, what would it be and why?
I don't know if it would class as a genre, but do you know at the end of every Jackie Chan film, there's all the stunts that go wrong throughout the course of the film? Yeah, that's basically me. It's like, there was a plan, it should have worked, and if it worked, it would have looked great, but obviously it didn't work first time, but there was a lot of mistakes that happened to get to the final product, and the final product is, I would say, at least all right.
But you see, it's a Jackie Chan movie though. Everything Jackie Chan movie is always funny. It's always adventurous, and it's always box office. And I think, because it's because it's relatable movie, right? Well, we don't really do karate in real life, right? But I think it's relatable because life is not about being serious. It's about the playful side of things and all like comedy.
It's about the experience.
Adventure. Exactly.
Talking about Jackie Chan and all the stunts, so I want to ask you, my first question is, when did you first fall in love with Star Wars? And what does it represent for you beyond just being a movie, man?
Well, I was born in the dark ages that were the 1980s, specifically 1983. Mm-hmm. So that's just obviously the same year that Return of the Jedi, in my opinion, the best Star Wars film, hot take. But what that means is that when I was growing up, I was steeped. Sorry, I just knocked my mic over. I was steeped.
Jackie Chan move.
Jackie Chan. I was steeped in all this iconography of like Star Wars. I had passed down toys from my older brother that were all Star Wars related. I had the full franchise at that point to watch on VHS. So it was the case that I was surrounded by it, molded by it, a bit like the Force.
So you've mentioned, Martin, I already know this story, but because we wanted to bring in our guests, Joel is also aware of this. It's because Joel is a forced best man in our wedding for my husband because his family is unable to attend the wedding. So he is there to be our family. So you've mentioned that all of the toys and all of these passed on, hobbies were from your brothers. So you are the youngest, right? And as Joel mentioned, you're a twin as well.
There's my older brother who is 4 years older than me. So many of the toys when I was little obviously were passed down from him. And then there's my twin brother who is 15 minutes older than me.
15 minutes. That's so cool. But being the youngest though, what was your dynamic in the family?
I didn't probably realize it at the time growing up, but I probably was the favorite. I don't remember being scolded or told off as much as the others, but in a way that was great. I had a fun childhood, but I don't think also it was like the best, in the sense that maybe if I'd been scolded or told off more, I might have actually been more inclined to actually do more rather than lean into being I'm the golden child, I'm the best, so I'll just try to be nice and the best for everyone, instead of maybe I should have been more rebellious, maybe I should have been doing something more interesting with my life instead of just sitting at home watching Star Wars on VHS.
Because I'm the eldest. Joelle, are you the eldest as well?
I'm the youngest. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm the youngest of the two siblings. I'm the youngest of the two siblings.
Okay, youngest as well, right? So I am the only eldest. Joelle, so what's your dynamic in your family though as the youngest as well?
Well, it's not very complex. My sister and I, we always shared a lot of things, apart from the toys, but we had the same mindset and the thoughts. We never had any arguments. There were a lot of hand downs in terms of books, probably. And I still have some of my books actually that were a hand down from my sister. So yeah, that's pretty much it. No choice.
Yeah. So see, same with you, Martin, right? So there were so many hand-me-downs, and as parents as well. I think because we got two kids, not only with toys, clothes, especially if they're both same gender, you know. So is that the same with your family?
Oh, that was definitely the same. Because me and my brother were twins, and obviously we were comparatively the same size, obviously. That meant that, if I'm going to buy one pair of clothes, why not I buy two at the same time?
Two.
Or, as my mum used to do, she would knit us jumpers as well. So it's like, well, I know the design for one, so I'll just make two. Or I'll make this one blue, and I'll make that one red, and that'll be help tell the
So
two
what
of them
was your
apart.
color? What was your color?
I think I was more red, and Neil was more blue.
Yeah, so Neil is your twin, so you're the red one.
I was the red one, yeah.
Red Ranger. Okay, he's the Red Ranger.
Now I'm the Black Ranger. Yeah.
Right, okay. I have got a question about this because I think because of your likes of these movies, these science fiction movies, this also opened the avenue for you to discover your creativity. So you draw, you write. Do you feel like creativity saved you or shaped you in any way?
I think it definitely shaped me. I think I still need saving in a lot of respects, but I think creativity is it's like a muscle. You just need to keep practicing it in order to get better at it. And certainly when I was younger and I had the time to do it, I practiced a fair bit. Obviously, when I was younger and when I went to school, I did an art degree. But obviously once I got out of high school and university and entered the workforce, and I didn't have time to do many of the things that I enjoyed when I was little. And unfortunately, as you go older, unless you forcibly give yourself that time, then you'll get those skills you acquired when you're younger will slowly disappear. Ask me to draw something now and it'll look atrocious. But ask me 20, 25 years ago to draw something then, it would look certainly a lot better.
Well, see, I have to disagree on that. Every time you help Maddox draw something, Maddox always would say, "Daddy, that's a good drawing. You should be proud of yourself."
So
wow.
In fairness, he's 5, so it's like,
hey,
yeah.
They
kid,
can see
great,
more
thanks.
truth than anything else.
Yeah.
Kids can see more truth than anyone else.
But he hasn't seen my drawings from back in the day, and
True.
I think I've seen some of your collection, and it's in the massive folder, and it looks really, really amazing, babe. So I just wanted to point that out. So I think even when he just
The
simply
checks in the
draw,
post, babe. Thanks.
he simply draws SpongeBob. I'm quite impressed. Because of your imagination, of your creativity. That's really, it's evident. Even as a dad, your children can see that.
You earlier mentioned about watching VHS tapes. I can relate to that because there were plenty of those, and I still have a few way back in India. So tell us about your Blu-ray and comic collection. I know you have tons of them. And what I would want to know is what was it doing for you? What was it feeding you, or how was it directing or redirecting you?
Escapism.
Oh.
Whether it be a film or a comic book or just a really good book, if it's engrossing enough, it will take you away from what would be your humdrum, boring day-to-day life existence and take you to somewhere fantastic with epic characters or iconic sets and locations. It's like, I think escapism is like truly quite important if we want to be able to bear our day-to-day existence, whether it be as a form of motivation to, I'm going to make my life a little bit like that character I read that book that I read. Or,
You said it's escapism. When did that start, though? See, because I'd like to understand, when did you feel like escaping, and what were you escaping from?
Well, it's probably like whether it was conscious like thought or not. It was probably has been there since I was a kid. Like, for example, Star Wars had played obviously a huge role in my life as a child growing up. And that's because it obviously, instead of a long time ago it is a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, it's like that very fantasy type element of it. But also there's like great themes within there as well, about good triumphing over evil, hope in the face of unsurmountable odds, redemption of like bad and evil characters. It's like there's a lot there to think like, It's like this is so much more interesting than my cornflakes that I'm eating at the moment. It's like hey, even Luke Skywalker had blue milk. It's
I like that.
yeah. So it's just kind of the thing. You look at it and you compare it obviously with, and it maybe intentionally or unintentionally, with your own life. And I think what happened with me is that steeped me in either an imaginative process where I was not wanting to consciously escape from my own life, but I just wanted to be maybe somewhere else. And I think it's like there's pros and cons to that. I think that as a child growing up, it's important. It probably is still quite important as you grow older, but when you do grow older, other things or reality rest upon your shoulders, like as soon as you come of age. And you can either stick your head in a book and escape as much as possible, but then the real world might fall to pieces, like when you're not looking. So it's maintaining the appropriate balance.
Now, what a lot of people don't know, Martin is selling a lot of his collections. So if you come to my house, we've got a utility. So when you say utility, you're expecting to see laundry, dishwasher, maybe some stuff, for cleaning. Ours isn't. You will see a library there. He's got a massive collection of books, and not only books, DVD, like this thick. If I do this hand gesture again, I don't know what the camera will do. So if the escapism was the purpose of collecting, if you are letting them go, so do you like your reality now? Because I'm part of it.
Well, totally, babe. Completely. I say that it's like escapism serves its purpose, and at times it can be beneficial, because really, like, the real world is like, it's dull, it's boring, it's solid all the way through, and you need like something to like spruce up your existence. And if you've got an imagination, or if you escape through alternative media, then you can make your life bearable. But I think you can also use it as a crutch, and which means that when it comes to real world, because you can't escape that completely either, unless you're gonna download your mind into the Matrix or something like that. You're gonna have to be able to cope and survive within the real world as well. And I think, to use myself as an example, like I say, I was steeped in like obviously Star Wars when I was a kid. Then one of my first jobs, I worked as a projectionist in a cinema, where basically I was just watching films like week after week for free. It was the perfect job. But it also meant that like I did that for 10 years, and whereas my other university friends were, going to do their masters, they were getting like jobs abroad, they were living their dream, they built from their imagination the life that they wanted to have, whereas I was just like left in a dark room consuming other people's interpretation of what their dreams would be. Now, as I've gotten older, I've come to realize is that yes, you can steep yourself in like that imaginative world, but it's not going to change your reality unless you actually do something to change it yourself. And that's what I'm trying to build and do with myself at the moment. And that means I'd rather give away or sell all my possessions if it meant that I could be a stronger and wiser human being and be able to
well done,
exist
babe.
within this human world.
It's a proud moment. Yeah. It is such a huge step. If you've got this attachment, not only with material things, also with the people that you have in your life, you've got this huge attachment, and you realize that really the external, happiness that it brings you is it's not sufficient enough.
Yeah.
It's not sustainable. So when you made that realization that the internal happiness or the strength is actually coming from within, was it hard for you to let it go initially? Was it a lot of emotions?
It still is in a way, because
I can imagine.
It's kind of came from like a multitude of factors. That like one, like financially, times are tough now, and these are books and Blu-rays that I've had on my shelf for years and years. I don't have time to actually pick up a book and read it anymore, or stick in a DVD to watch it for my own personal self. I'm either too busy working, looking after the kids, or sleeping. My life is centered around other responsibilities that don't allow me to, chase that escapism anymore. And what that means is that it's not serving my purpose any longer. So I can either keep it, let it gather dust and continue to not serve me, or I can sell it and make a book off it. But that's why I say that's one aspect. The other thing that meant that I held on to them for so long is that I thought, if I don't have time for it, maybe I can give them to my kids when they're older, and maybe that they'll enjoy them, or maybe they'll like them. But the more that as time has gone by and as my kids have started to grow up, it's the case that I've realized that, they are not me. The things that they like or now or may like in the future won't be the same things that I like. So I might think this first edition of Frank Miller's Sin City circa 2001, whatever, it's like mint condition, still in its plastic, whatever. That's important to me, but they won't get it. Like the upbringing that I had meant that I appreciated something like that I thought that was interesting and cool, whereas my kids won't have the same upbringing that I did. their experiences won't be the same that I have, which means that when they're old enough for me to bequeath it to them, they will just have a bunch of stuff given to them without context and without knowing, like, well, why should I like this? I don't. It's like, I'm not interested in these things.
I think it's I think you're devaluing it. I think what you meant is you're not making your children you.
Yes.
So you're allowing them to grow on their own and make their own choices.
Yeah, exactly. It's like what shaped me into the human being that I am, to be able to like the things that I liked, is not going to be the same journey that they are going to have. They are going to have their own experiences, their own likes and wants and needs. And I can either dump on them when they turn 18 a whole host of things that I liked but never got the chance to read and enjoy myself, or what I'd like to think of now is that if I develop myself into the human being that I would like myself to be portrayed as, then they can use me as their example. That I'd rather give my kids nothing physically, but if I can give them the example that they can follow into the rest of their lives, then I'd rather that happen and have them turn into better versions of themselves.
That's very important. The whole values, principles, what actually means to do the right thing and being purposeful. I want to ask you, I know a lot of people might not give you this answer straight, but I still want to know, what's that one thing that people just assume that's completely wrong about you?
Probably they still think that I like Star Wars as much as that I used to. Star Wars is, like I say, it was very important to me growing up, but Star Wars is a franchise that has existed for like 50, nearly 60 years. Like now, it's crazy that generationally you can either be an OT fan, like me, born in the 80s, 77 to 83, or you could be a fan of the prequel trilogy, which was like 99 to 2005. Or, God forbid, you could be a fan of the Disney era of Star Wars, circa 2015. It's like, so that's like, it's me liking Star Wars. I like the Star Wars that meant the most to me. Personally, I would accept episodes 1, 2, and 3, but the franchise for me ended at episode 6. Anything after that, anything that Disney has done, even the things that might be like just a smidgen a bit good, it's the case that they've not tried to portray the same message and morals and principles that that obviously had a huge impact on me when I was growing up.
So we talked about you being a twin. Did you feel like more of an individual or a part of a unit? Because I've never grown up with a twin, but I grew up with 3 girls nearly the same age, and we are getting compared a lot. Yeah. I don't know what kind of life you had when you were younger with a twin. How was it?
When we were young, we were definitely a unit, a pair. That certainly helped when my mum would dress us in same or similar clothing. But as we got older, it's like I think that our own individuality started to present itself. It got to the point when we started going to school that as soon as people would ask, like, "Oh, you're a twin?" I would say, "Hold on. Firstly, we're not identical. I don't know what he's thinking, and I don't feel pain when he feels pain. So don't go all crazy about because you're a twin. That's not the most important thing about me. I am. The most important thing about me is that I am connected to someone else. I am my own person. I have my own individuality. I am important for the things that I like and I'm passionate about. It's not just about like, oh, you stand next to him. You kind of look alike, but
So it became like how do you call it? Like the number one interesting thing about you. So people do not find out more about you because period, you are a twin.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? And there's like a pro and cons of that. So the con is that side, right? But what's the pro side of having a twin?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's definitely, I suppose, as a parent, when you've got twins, a pro would be that, like, just put the two of them together, give them some
And
toys.
they'll play.
They will play with each other, and I can do something else. Or even though I can play with them, but I won't have to try as hard.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like having a constant partner, playmate, companion. Obviously, is great. Like when you're younger, and because you'll very rarely get bored unless you both get bored. But I think that certainly the journey that I had was that as I got older and we started to like different things, that I think what pushed the wedge between us is that people would expect me to like the same things that he did, and stopped appreciating me for the things that I like. And it got to the point whereby that once we hit high school, we very much like went our separate ways. It's like Neil had his group of friends, I had the quote unquote chess club, like nerdy kids like from the art classes, complete weirdos that nobody wanted to hang out with. But that's because I kind of got along with them, so I hung out with them instead. So I wasn't the super athletic one on the football team doing all the sporty stuff. I was the more creative one, and I think that's just certainly meant that as time has continued, it's like we've just grown further and further apart, which some would consider it as being sad, but I would say it's like, but it's like I found myself by doing that, and so I don't see it as all being that bad. Sorry, Neil.
Thank you very much for sharing that. I think the next segment before we go on a break is going to be kind of raw and deep, because the common grounds, a lot of people don't know this, a common ground between the three of us is losing a parent. And that's going to be the same, the next conversation we're going to have after this break.
Welcome back, everyone, and we are on again at Your Turn. Your host, Joel Irugu.
And this is Tanya, and again, our special guest, Martin McCarthy, my husband. So now we are on our second part, and this is the raw, the personal, and the dark side of Martin McCarthy.
Before we went on break, Tanya did mention that we have one common factor between the three of us, losing a parent. And I think this hits home in different ways. We know that your dad passed away a few years ago. So if you could have one more conversation with him, what would you want to discuss with him?
Well, to provide a bit of background, my dad was, I would say, like our family's rock. What I mean by that is that he was kind of the glue that like obviously held us all together, and his job for the most part was a bus driver. So that meant that he would work long hours, but he would always to be there. Certainly he was always seemed to be there when I was younger. It's like, I don't recall a time where I physically missed him, even though that surely he must have been away working hard, dealing with like the public. Being a bus driver is not a fun gig, to be fair. But he did that day in, day out, again and again, and he was always there for his family and the kids. And I have the utmost respect for my dad for doing that. What if I had to have a conversation with him again? I'd ask him, it's like, how the hell did he manage to make it look so easy? Because it's like, I'm not a bus driver, but I do have a demanding job. But it's like, try to juggle that and trying to be a dad as well. Obviously, as a husband and a son and a brother and all of that. It's really difficult. How did he make it look so easy?
What do you think your dad would say?
He would say something along the lines of, I didn't stop to think about it, I just did it. You can either like worry about it or you can just do it. It's like you can complain about how hard it is, or you can just get on with the task. I'm probably paraphrasing, but I think that's the gist of the message that he would give me, that like stop worrying about how hard it is and just get on and do it.
I think the darkest part of your life, Martin, was the time when Dad died, right?
Yeah.
Could you describe us that moment when you learned about it? We were already together at the time, but we haven't been married yet. And it was all like, I was going to meet him, but I've never had a chance to do so.
Well, sorry to correct, like, we were married at that stage.
We were.
Yeah. We got married.
Obviously, I am.
It's like, well, you were still in the Philippines. That's the thing.
All right, okay.
It took from the point of us getting married to you coming to the UK was about a year, and unfortunately he passed away during that time. So you didn't get a chance to physically meet him. But my dad passed away very suddenly and definitely unexpectedly. He had some form of a blood clot, which that meant is that at one moment he was fine, the next moment he wasn't. Taken to hospital, he was in effectively a coma for a couple of weeks, and then fortunately we had to turn the machine on.
What was your thinking at the time? How did you process this?
I would say that I definitely didn't process it as well as that I would like to have. I'm sure that everyone has that same feeling, but I had 2 weeks time off to grieve, and then unfortunately I had to go back to work because I wasn't getting the support for the time off to process what I was feeling. I don't think that I've cried as hard or uncontrollably at any other point in my life, and I like to think that I'm a fairly emotionally sensitive human being. There's that I can cry my eyes out when I watch an important film to me, or read a certain passage within a book or piece of poetry, but I was ugly tears, crying uncontrollably. I would try to speak, I just couldn't get words out. I remember trying to call Tanya outside the hospital when that was happening, and I think you were just listening to me cry down the phone. I didn't know what to do, and it was just unfortunate that I didn't get enough time, I would think, to process it.
The painful part about that, I believe I remember you saying, is you're not able to speak to him because he's in coma.
Yeah.
So, but I believe this is a scientific thing, that the last thing that dies when a person is dying is their hearing. So were you able to say the things you'd like to say to him? So what were your, I'm sorry to go back to make you relive that moment. Do you remember the last things you told Dad when it happened?
Well, we were I was the last one to leave the hospital room where after we turned the machines off. We had, the whole family was there. Obviously me, my two brothers, my mum, my dad's brothers. It's as many of the family who could make it were there, but I was the last one there. And I just said that I told him that I loved him and always would. And I said I would never forget him. And unfortunately, and then I left the room.
It's very tough.
Yeah.
So how did you three brothers come together to support each other and continue to be a rock for each other? Because you said your father was a rock of the family.
By this stage, this was just 10 years ago, so me and Neil were in our 30s, David was 34. David, that's my older brother. His life was that he was working away from home a lot. He obviously had his own own life as well, so he wasn't always around. Neil obviously was married, had his own life, wasn't always around. I was living alone at that time, obviously trying to sort things out with Tanya's visa and such. I know that my mum has tried to keep the family together by doing annual Dad Day, where we would get together on his birthday as a family. But it's not always been easy, and I think post-COVID, that has been compounded by other things. I'm happy to say that my brothers are pursuing their own lives, doing their own thing, and I hope that they are happy, but I don't need to rely upon them to make myself happy anymore. Making sure that my immediate family, Tanya and our kids, are suitably supported and happy. And as long as that's happening, then I can take solace in that.
That's a very good way of looking at things, that, like sometimes when you have your own family now, like your wife and your kids, sometimes because it's a toxic Filipino culture that you're still expected to look after your family. And we can't deny that. It's an evident reality of a lot of Filipinos. What are the lessons that stick in your head, and how are you applying it in your current role as a father?
I think that because my dad had the attitude of supporting his family no matter what, no matter whether he was maybe always like loved or appreciated, he would do what was necessary of him. I think that what I've learned from him is also what I'm learning or teaching myself now. If I'm not as much of a fan of Star Wars at the moment, I'm more a fan of philosophy and studying Stoicism. I think there's benefits of that philosophy that are teaching me how to be a better and wiser human being and able to deal with adversity better. I think it's like Stoicism, for example, it's kind of centered upon identifying that which is within your control and that which isn't, and focusing on one and allowing the other one to exist, and without it in spoiling your inner peace. He picked up these skills his own way, and it's like I picked up some of those by looking at him, following his example. What I'm kind of doing now is just like realizing through educating myself through certain other books and media that I'm consuming, I'm realizing actually my dad had it like he was like clued into onto all this like stuff a lot better than I was growing up. It's like he had his shit together, put it that way. Whereas for example, the classic case of trying to be there for the kids and not get upset when their wants and needs eclipse my wants and needs, and it's understanding that it's like it's not about me, it's like it's about them, and if I try to impose my wants and needs of them, I'm going to damage them in the long run. I need to be able to give them the support. Like they're 5 or 2 and 5 years old, like they don't know the first thing about being patient or sharing or sometimes being nice to other people. They need to be taught that. And if I lose my shit because like, dude, you pulled all my ties out of like the tie drawer and threw them all on the floor, I could get upset by that and shout at them, or I could be as understanding and patient with them and try to impose on them like, does that belong to you, Bjorn? Name names. It's like, does that belong to you? Do you think that was a good choice? It's like maybe next time you throw mummy's clothes on the floor instead.
I
think it's that we have a responsibility as fathers to teach our kids like the lessons needed for them as they grow up. And the thing is, they will learn not just that which you tell them, they will learn what they see. And if they see you
very true
wigging out, getting angry, getting short-tempered, that's what they will take as being norm or acceptable. And as I look back on my dad's example and the Stoic wisdom that I'm reading about, like Marcus Aurelius,
I like the posts.
It's those who don't know, my Instagram is being flooded at the moment with pictures of the kids alongside Stoic wisdom that I'm reading. Doing that daily is helped me, I would say, quite significantly over the last 6 months, as learning those skills of identifying what is and not within my control, what I should be passionate about and what I should be more controlled with. It's helping me not only be a better human being, but also a better father to my kids. And I think that is a legacy that I'd want to give to my kids as an example that they can follow, as opposed to a couple of bookshelves full of like books and DVDs that like they had no idea even existed or what they were even about. I mean, I've got when I was at university, my student loan basically went on buying a DVD collection, and I don't have the time to watch maybe between 600 and 800 DVDs. Like there's more films in there that I could physically watch within like a 2 year. So I might just give that to the kids. They're gonna like pull one out and stick that in, watch that. It's like, what is this? What is this? My dad thought this was important enough to buy it and then give it to me. It's like
true that.
It's like I can shape myself into being the human being that I was always meant to be, and they take me as the example that they should be following into this life going forward.
True.
Can I just say that your dad must be very, very proud of you. You know, yes, we have ups and downs as parents, and being a parent is really, really difficult. But I think on this part, I would have to probably give the floor to Joel, because as a father yourself and Joel himself, I think we'd like our audiences, our viewers and listeners, to know how you shape yourself as a father, your fears as a father, your successes in the celebrations. So I guess for me to bring the floor back to Joel, I'd like to know first, when you became a dad, for both of you, you can answer this, what fears did you carry that no one prepared you for?
I've got a funny story about this.
Okay, go on.
Go.
When my dad, obviously after me and Neil were first born, me and Neil were all swaddled up, getting ready to be taken out of the hospital, and my dad dropped one of us. And
You dropped him?
I'd say, I don't know which one that he dropped.
Maybe you.
But we were all so swaddled up that, you know, it was fine. If it was me, I probably rolled out the door, you know. It was fine. But I think certainly one of the first thoughts that I had after having kids and being given like this small bundle like into my arms, I was saying, holy shit, don't fucking drop them, okay? That has obviously been like a lingering thought, like for the last 5 years, that like, don't screw this up, because if you mess it up, it's not just going to be on you, it's going to be on them, and they're going to feel those repercussions throughout their life. Don't make mistakes that will be harder than you will make, that will be possible to mend. So that's kind of been my philosophy like since the last couple of years.
What about you, Joel?
Good. Well, I will tell you, I was more excited than anyone else when I learned that I will be a father, because I started making a list of things that I'd want to do, and that is exactly what I did. And at that time, I would say I was fortunate enough to get laid off. So I had a lot of time with my son. And I think it is very important, apart from the fact that the whole skin touch and, you know, the physical touch, I think it's more on what you're doing with your kids while they're growing up as young as infancy, because it definitely builds a bond. And that's why I can say that the bond that I have, I could probably say that I never had that bond with my father, but you know what's funny? I have that bond with my father now. After I became a father, and after my mom's passing, my dad and we became so close that I share anything and everything with him. Of course, there are limitations in certain things, but my problems, my challenges, my wins, my celebrations, everything. He is the first person I will call. It doesn't matter what happens in my life. He's the first person. When I wake up, the first person I message is my father. And before sleeping, the last person I talk to is my father. So, yeah.
So I assume, Joel, your dad is also the first person, your go-to person when things get heavy.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. But of course, there are times when, our parents' generation, they grew up very different. Like what Martin said, his father had everything together, despite whatever challenges were there.
I'm just thinking there that, it was a different time.
Yeah.
My dad obviously brought me and my family up mainly in the 80s, but it was the decades prior to that shaped the person that he was. And I think the world then is vastly different than what it is
Very
now.
different, yeah.
Although we have all these so-called advantages like technology and that is meant to be making us more connected and all that, in a lot of ways actually isn't worth shit, because it's more of a distraction, and it
separated people more.
Exactly.
Yeah. See, oh my god.
Whereas that, I say I can't speak for everything that happened to my dad that shaped him to being the human being that he were, but I can see that the things that happened to me, at least, all these so-called advantages, whether it be an education or living in a digital age, having a piece of technology, the entirety of like human knowledge like can be found using like the internet. Having all of this at one's fingertips, has it made me a better human being? Has it made me a better husband, father, brother, son? Has it made me a better human being? I would say probably not. I think so-called advantages are not necessarily advantages. They are only advantages if you make the best of them. And people in older times, when they didn't have these advantages, they still able to make themselves into better human beings than I would say that
True.
now.
True. Yeah.
So this is because of your way of thinking. Your life now is because of how advanced it is. It's how you make out of it, right? So you also think of the pros and cons of that. So you're not heavily dependent on it, but you're also depending on it at some point if you needed an assistance. So it's like admitting sometimes the support that you need. So if Joel goes to his dad when things go heavy, who do you go to apart from me?
It's like 99% of the time I do go to you. It's the thing is like there's that idea is like, what lessons should dad teach to their kids? And like I say, I respect my dad entirely, but did my dad teach me how to fix a leaky socket or change a tire on a car? How to rewire like a plug? Like, no, my dad didn't teach me any of those things. And the first tire I had to change on a car, Tanya had to show me how to do it. It's like I was perfectly ready to pick up the phone and call the AA, like the emergency service, like, I've got a flat tire, can you come and fix it for me?
Because that's the purpose of it.
Well, that's it. That's the modern age. That's like this old chestnut. It's like, dads should teach kids how to fix an engine on a car. I wouldn't even, never in a million years would I try to fix something that I've got no idea how to fix.
Exactly. Well, I mean, being a handyman is great, but you can't expect everyone else to be just like how you grew up, what your parents are like, what your brothers are like, your uncles are like. It's irrelevant because everyone grew up differently. What you learned from your parent is very different compared to what others have learned from their own parents. And I think what's important over here is we need to understand that leave the respect aside, okay? Because what we need to understand is the circumstances under which they grew up in, okay? The surroundings, the kind of upbringing, the kind of values and principles. And I think that is more important than trying to figure out, do I have a handyman or do I have a good for nothing person? Okay.
I think it's the stigma, you know, that's attached to men, that you are expected to be a handyman. If you're not, you're useless. It's a shit stigma. It's a shit, how do you call this, way of thinking that when men cannot pick up a hammer or cannot hang a frame or whatever, they are useless dads or fathers.
It's a delusional expectation. Let's be really honest about it. Okay, it's delusional to think everyone knows everything, and just because someone in my household fixes it, you know, whoever my next, what do you call that? The Prince Charming can do that.
It's
right?
like
So
if women have the unreasonable expectation that they need to be like thin and beautiful and wear all this makeup, men have this expectation that as soon as you're in a relationship, you need to be a therapist, a companion. As soon as you move into a house, you need to be an electrician, plumber. As soon as you have kids, you need to be a role model. You need to be all of this. And like what's frustrating, or like what happens quite often, and I would suppose, is that like you're still expected to deliver again and again. And people would say like, you should be doing more. I know I should be doing more, but it's like, it's impossible. There's nothing more that I can give. It's like, and I think what modern relationships now, obviously there's I would say the unfair expectation on men to be all of this and more, and without a full appreciation of what it takes to build that knowledge, that experience. It's like we could go down like a separate rabbit hole, like
true, very true.
That women are born with their value, whereas that men need to build their value, and it tends to be the case that men don't build their ultimate value until they maybe in their 30s and 40s, whereas
that's a good way of thinking, you know. That's so true. Women were born with values because women are expected also to behave in a certain way. That if you don't behave a certain way, I mean, you're already labeled into a lot of things, you know, like you're not educated. And men, yes, they are given a leeway to have these values at a certain point of their life. But then again, when they fail that, when they hit that certain point of life and they fail that, people are still saying, you're not the right person. It's just all this shit stigma that is associated with gender that's making the relationship really in a rocky state. So I think this is a good segue to go to marriage. So we talked about being a son, being a brother, being a father. Let's talk about you being a husband. So, and also apart from that, is you're playing a role as being you. You know, because apart from all these roles that you're playing with, you need to be you. You need to be your individual self to grow, to be able to function, to play the roles that you put yourself through or that you were given. So this made you or gave you the way of thinking, I need to do things perfectly. So you have this perfectionism in you, Martin, as a lot of people don't know. Martin is kind of perfectionist. So when he does things, he really dedicates time to do that. And he cannot be bothered. He needs to focus on that. So it was simple as driving or creating training materials for your work. Where does this perfectionism came from?
It's hard to pinpoint like a particular time or events that shaped that. But I would definitely agree that I have the mentality that if something's worth doing, then it's worth doing one time, and it's worth doing right the first time. That is obviously the definition of perfectionism. Failure is like a good teacher as well. And even if you make mistakes even if you think that you've done everything right, it is still possible to fail. And that doesn't mean like, screw it, I'm throwing it out, I'm not, never again. That means like, no, it's like, yes, you tried at your best, yes, it didn't work, but true character is built from continuing and doing it again. And I think it's like, I've kind of talked myself out of the point. I was saying that, like, do it right first time, boom, never again. I don't have to do it again because I've done it the first time. But it's, but I think it's like takes true courage to confront failure and rebuild after something has gone wrong.
Absolutely.
And that is a trait that in our modern world and society doesn't always have. Talking about fatherhood, for example, that is definitely a trait I want to instill within my kids. Because my perfectionism, I would say that it's as much a hindrance as it is a admirable work ethic. Aristotle quote there for you. Excellence is... Sorry.
He's got a cheat sheet.
I've got a cheat sheet.
I know, right? Go. I'm interested. I love your quotes, mate.
Yes. We are what we do repeatedly. Excellence is therefore not an act, but it is a habit. If you want to be good at something, you need to work at it. If you want to be excellent at something, you need to work at it. It's like if you think about something only and you don't do anything with that knowledge or experience, then you'll never be as good at it as someone who is actually trying to do something.
Great.
That
great piece of advice. Great piece of advice.
Aristotle came up with that. That goes at the top of my CV whenever I dish that out. It's a perfect employee, me.
That is probably also one of your advices for the next generation, right? Because I was very keen to understand and know probably, what is it that you would want to share for the next generation or anyone will be listening to us, based on the things that you've learned the hard way, what could you have done better? And I think what you said definitely resonates with that. I have one question, and I know that we went to the dark side already, but I just want to go back to it again. Sometimes
Cheers.
It's exciting, but not for this one though, because this is something that it doesn't bother me, but I think this is just part of us growing. As we grow older, when we lose people in our lives, especially family, when we say when I lose people, I'm not talking about friends or anyone, okay? I'm talking about family or friends who we consider as family who passed away. Over a period of time, their memories start fading away, and it is a scary thought, because there will be a time when you will not remember what was the last dinner like, what was the last walk in the park like, with someone who is not here with me today. How do you cope with those thoughts?
This is something I've thought about recently, and I would agree. I know especially that my own memory has never been the best, even at the best of times. I quite regularly forget to do things, and it's frustrating as hell. But if I had to think that I were forgetting the twinkle in, say, like my dad's eye, or the smile that he would give, I might forget those things. But what I won't forget is the lessons that they taught me, and what I think is most important in terms of honouring their memory is taking those lessons and doing something with them, shaping yourself into the human being that they would have been proud to think you of being able to become. And even though I have like a picture of my dad in my wallet just so I can remember his face, I take more solace in the fact that I'm probably on the path now to being the type of person my dad would have been proud of. And it's because I think it's like, if you do linger on those things that you forget and focus on those things that are outside of your control, brain cells our brain cells are dying in of old age all the time. It's the case that you could either dwell on that negatively, or you can focus on, well, I might not remember this person in 100% shape and form,
but you can replicate what they did for you.
Yes, I can replicate the type of person they would have been proud of. And I think that's more important going forward.
Yeah.
That's I think it's the memory sometimes that makes. I think this is also something my sisters mentioned. They're scared that they are starting to forget Popsy, and what I told them is, you're not forgetting them. You're getting used to the absence, but it doesn't mean you are forgetting them. It becomes part of you, that becomes you. The memories that they left you and that you had fun with them becomes part of you, and then you're actually living that and sharing that with the people that you're surrounding with. And it's the healing journey that you're going through. It's not the forgetting. So we normally just call it forgetting, but it's actually the healing, because we're healing through that pain. And as I can see from the three of us, it was really such a nightmare journey to lose a parent. But we still got one parent that's still, giving us inspiration to keep going and reminding us of the other parent that we have lost, was probably looking down on us. So, and I think that is still such a good reminder that we have everything we need now, plus an angel looking over us. So we talked about the dark side, and I wanted to be able to now move on to the part where Martin is starting to heal. So this is the part when you're starting to realize the lessons, starting to realize the old habits, and you're starting to change them, or trying to mold yourself into a new person that you would be proud of, not only your dad. So now I would like to know, so if your younger self is looking at you now, the little Martin, what do you think, what do you think your little self would tell you now, and what would you tell them?
I think I would tell myself, the younger version of myself, that which you are afraid of, you should be doing more of that.
True.
With me growing up, as I've said, that escapism and comfort was quite important or significant within my life, that it meant that I didn't take as many risks, or I took them certainly a lot later in life than when I maybe, being young and stupid, there's a good time for doing everything, and young and stupid is when you should be doing perhaps most of them. It's a lot more risky if you leave it later in life. So the younger version of me, I would have been saying listen, that which you are afraid of, that is what you should be doing, and that's what you should be doing more of right now. Don't leave it until you think that you are 100% ready. Do it now, because you'll never be 100% ready.
Exactly.
It's like, if you're going to do it, you need to do it, and do it yesterday. And if it's important enough that you want it to be the defining aspect of your life going forward, then you need to do it like your life depends on it. Because if that's the life that you want, then your life does depend on it. You need to be doing it right now.
True. Yeah.
Buck the fuck up. Get out there.
So
Totally.
you would say 100% that your younger self is very proud of what you've done, and looking back, you can tell yourself confidently, my God, I'm actually proud of myself. Yeah, because of what you've gone through. And I know you're a very simple person, babe. You don't ask a lot of things in life. You are very much goes with the flow.
Yeah.
So that's the type of person you are, and I think that's probably why our marriage worked. Having a strong wife, strong-willed wife. Okay, fine. You know what? Let's ask this question, because I bet Joel have this question in his head, and a lot of our viewers are probably asking this question in their head. How did you fucking survive your strong-willed wife?
I don't know, babe. I'm just making this up as I go along.
Yeah, because it's not part of the questionnaire. This is on purpose. We did not prepare you for this.
No, it's it's picking your battles. Is essentially one way to look at it. That what's more important, saving a relationship that is as important and holds a significant amount of weight within your life. What's more important, maintaining that or proving that you're right? It's you can have fleeting self-respect in yourself and being yes, I got one over on her. I was right this time, so I proved myself right. Good for me. And then she could say I'm packing my bags, I'm going now, bye. It's if what's more important, it's not, and doing what's necessary to maintain that. And that means that sometimes you may need to put yourself second. It may mean that you might need to take the L, take the knee, and just like hold one's tongue for a little bit. But that doesn't. If the relationship is worth fighting for, then it would be the case that they would be also bigging you up, like in the next moment. It's like you might feel as though you're in second place today, but tomorrow she's going to be your number one fan, wanting you to become first. So I think what works with me and Tanya is that we've always had a strong friendship, like for years and years prior to us getting married, and we've had that foundation based on mutual respect for one another. That's meant that, like, if all else failed, even if like we weren't in a relationship, if we weren't married or if we didn't have kids, we'd always want to have what's best happen to each other. And I think it's like that has been like the strongest foundation with us, because it's like we've got such a good friendship. Yeah,
I think also because we kind of like learn.
Oh, you're crying, babe.
No, I'm fixing my lashes. Okay.
I think almost.
Oh, okay, almost. Fine.
It's like,
that's why she's looking in the other direction.
No, I was gonna say this is a common mistake or a perception about marriage. Is like when you fight, you're fighting against each other. No, you're fighting against that fight. So you need to be in the same corner. You need to be in the same corner. You might have a different perception or perspective about things, or you might have a different argument or debate. But then again, your goal is the same thing: to be heard, to be valued, to be loved. If you don't see that, if all you wanted to do is, if your only aiming is to hurt them, to make them feel that they hurt you, it's never going to work. So I think with Martin and I, it took us a long time to realize that we're not perfect couples. Like when we argue, oh, okay, I'm going to let him win. No, it's not like that. I've told this to Joelle and some of my friends that I have planned to divorce Martin so much because I'm a strong-willed person. So if Martin is just fighting back, which I'm not used to, I feel like he's rude, he's disrespectful, because he's going outside of the character of my idea of husband. See, this is the
your
idea
perception.
that I created. Exactly. So this is the idea that I created, which is completely wrong. I am not allowing him to be an individual himself. So when he makes a mistake, then now I feel like, oh my God, he's failing as a husband. You know, no, but my way of thinking, I have to look at it in a different perspective and say, okay, he made a mistake. He's a fucking human. If I was in that position, I would hope my partner would also say, I'm human.
Having emotional intelligence is quite important, because there's two ways that Tanya's saying, like, oh, I'm going to divorce you. After the 5th or 6th time, it's like I could be saying, like, yeah, well, if she was going to do it, she would have done it by now.
True.
Or I can see, like, well, what's the she wouldn't say that if there wasn't a reason for it.
Exactly.
So why does she feel like that would be a necessary action for her? Is she feeling sad, upset? Is she hungry, or is she tired? Is, like, you know, it's what's the underlying reason? What can I do to, like, make her feel more comfortable in the moment that would address her issues? And quite often,
every single time I would say, I'm going to divorce you, and you know what? I don't know with other men, but the first thing Martin would always say, what's the matter? Or he would also say, what can we do better? What can we do to resolve it? So it's not like pointing fingers. So I think we have known you in different levels of Martin. So a dad, a son, a brother, a person, and a husband, a friend as well. Now, because you are starting your healing journey, I'd like to know, what are the ways you're trying to cope with things differently now from your old self? How are you coping now as a person who's got more wisdom, who's gone through a lot of hardships in life? How are you coping with things now?
I think I would be the first to admit to the fact that, like, I am a work in progress. I am by no means of the imagination a complete version of me, or the perfect version of me. I am a work in progress, babe. And that means that I'm no longer the person that I was, but I am also not entirely where I would like myself to be as well. And I think having a firm understanding of that keeps me grounded, because as long as I'm trying to improve myself, then it's the case that I'm not resting on my laurels or in my comfort zone, not trying to improve myself. And I'm not in a position where I'm thinking, yeah, well, I don't need to do any more of that stuff because I'm perfect already. Because I understand that I am on a journey and I'm not there where I want to be yet, but I'm also not where I was. It's the case that I know that there's work to do, but there's a lot of work that has gone into the person that I am at this moment. In terms of what things I'm actually trying to do to improve myself, I think I'm focusing more on my physical health and fitness more than I have been the last few years. And I think that's because in the past I knew that worked. Before getting married to Tanya, I used to do the Great North Run, which is obviously a big event in the UK. It's 13.1 miles from the centre of Newcastle to the South Shields on the coast. I would train to do that every year, which would mean going for like 6-mile runs like every other day, just to maintain one's physical fitness. So being physically active and having a target worked like massively for me, because I could measure the distance or the level of improvement. And usually once I've finished a 6-mile run or a 13.1 mile half marathon, I can usually say, bloody hell, I'm too tired to actually worry or be angry about anything else. I can just I have like the clarity to see what's actually important and what's not. Generally, that is just being able to put one foot in front of the other, to be able to keep going no matter how hard like things might have been. Now, I don't do the Great North Run anymore. It's too hard on the knees. But I do what's called a Northumberland Coast Mighty Hike, which is 26.2 miles. It's a walk instead. So
nice. Good transition though.
Yeah, it's a lot easier. The surroundings are a lot more pretty, and it's from 2 different castles on the Northumberland. Well, you see 3 castles along the Northumberland coast, one in the middle, and one at the beginning and one at the end. But again, I think having a target to work towards is like so important, because if you don't have a target, then you have no reason to actually head towards anything. And what tends to happen is that you'll just like sit back and relax in your comfort zone and do nothing. And I would say over the last year, definitely, I've been working on my fitness like a fair bit. As Tanya can attest, that we've both been on certain drugs that help with our weight loss, and I've lost
Drugs.
4.5 stone in the last year. Hey, it's like me and Tanya have like alternate philosophies on it, and I'm of the mind that it's great to give you the motivation or a bit of a head start, but it's not a solution in and of itself. It's to get you on the path that you need to be able to get to where you want to be. Because I'm not saying I'm a Hugh Jackman, like body amazing, like or even if that's my target. I'm just saying that I'm definitely not the person I was before. I've lost 4.5 stone since I've started, and it's put me on the path to being able to maintain regular fitness now. So
Good.
I'm out there.
I'm proud of you, babe. I'm proud of you. It's such a huge step to actually realize what you have gone through and get out of it and celebrate. Because I think that this is what I was telling him a few days ago. I think a lot of people are working so hard just to get out of that difficult situation. But what they're forgetting is the celebration bit. Once you, even if it's a small thing, you forget to celebrate that because you just think like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to put my goal up. It just instead of when you hit that goal, you will keep going and going and going. And instead of celebrating, you look down, you're kind of like, oh, I need to do more. So we are forgetting the wins.
When you say that, it just makes me think of like the 10 years worth of Great North Run medals that I've got sitting in a basket in the conservatory that I haven't looked at in a long time. But I absolutely agree that it's you need to have the clarity and self-awareness to see where you've been, to be able to know how far you've actually came. And
true.
It's like if you don't have that, then you'll just be in a cycle of trying to constantly improve yourself, but not realizing how much you've already changed.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's also important to accept the fact that if you haven't made progress with what you anticipated, it's not like you haven't moved an inch. You have definitely. So accepting that also is a way of celebration and acknowledging your own efforts. And while we talk about it, I would like to ask you, because we are talking about outgrowing a lot of things, right? I want to know, is there something that you secretly miss after you've outgrown certain things?
Oh, I love that. Yes, I think it's a perfect segue. We're trying to make him realize, you know what? I'm proud of myself now. But
Tell me what you miss.
I'm checking my notes. What did I say for this question?
Because once you say it, no, it's okay. We can edit it. No, I'm just joking.
Okay, while you're looking for the answer on that one, I'll answer this question myself. Because what I missed doing when I was younger, now you have to wait for your turn because I am already in the middle of
it. That's the purpose of this podcast.
So
it's like, wait your turn.
Wait for your turn. So if I go back and I miss something that I am unable to do now, is actually go out at night anytime I want to, without having to really check if my kids are awake or if Martin can drive me or things like that. So I think the liberty to actually go anywhere, anytime, without having someone to rely on you or without having to rely on to anyone.
And no curfew like in the Philippines.
Exactly. Because I think becoming a parent, it comes with a responsibility. You are the carer. You know, you brought them in this world. They didn't ask
You're
for it.
responsible for them.
Yes. So I think that's what I miss because you now I have to actually think of other people. If I go or do this, how will they cope and things like that. Now, Martin, okay, fine. The floor is yours.
Now it's your turn.
Yes. I found on my script here what I said.
On your script.
And actually, it fits in with the purpose of this podcast, which is I secretly miss Star Wars.
You do?
Or secretly miss how good it used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that go on, I'll just like out myself, take the red pill and just basically say Star Wars has been mismanaged for the last 10 years by Disney.
Oh, hell yeah.
And it's like it's essentially Star Wars used to be the biggest franchise in Hollywood for decades, and now it's a category on a streaming service. It's like it has been downgraded in terms of quality and fan engagement to the point now where Disney is like throwing its money away. It's been the case now that it's like the original fans like me have almost like have walked away like from it entirely. The new audience that they wanted to bring in never existed in the first place.
True, and very true.
Co-opt a franchise, make it their own thing, let it fail, and then just move on to the next franchise. They don't have an appreciation for what it were to be able to continue it and make it still a piece of value for generations to come. Instead, it's going to be the case now. Disney is going to eventually sell it because but the problem will be that no one will want to buy it, which is insane. Inserted their own modern day politics into it.
The whole entertainment aspect of it, that's it.
It's not even back then, it was still entertaining. What they've tried to do now is insert modern intersectional politics into it, and they've made it what it was never meant to be about. What they've done is they've rooted Star Wars in contemporary politics, which will be outdated in a couple of years' time, whereas that the original trilogy and still like the prequel trilogy, they were intended to be timeless stories, meaning that whatever age you were, whatever time it is in current year, you could go back and you'd find a timeless journey that speaks like to the human soul.
I'm not surprised that you mentioned that, because anything and everything that comes out of Disney is more of a political propaganda or agenda.
Yeah.
There is no moral of the story. You know, back in the days when we used to grow up, we used to have all these cartoons, right? I mean, of course, there were some similarities, but because all three of us are from different regions. So in India, in the Philippines, and in the UK, we used to have very different cartoons. And they used to play or air them only at a certain time during the day, or only during summer or winter or
it's
spring break.
Saturday morning cartoons was like is a very thing.
It was a great routine for all of us to gather together. Whose house has a television? Okay, let's all gather there. Deba?
Yeah.
And it used to be so much fun. And I think it was the same across all three locations. But back then, we would always see that there is some story about it. There is some value. There is some moral. But now it's just madness.
In the classical Star Wars like tradition, it was good versus evil. You know, it's like Darth Vader like coming out into the white corridor at the very first A New Hope, white being the classical version of good. You know, it's the case, you know, him strutting out in a ebony black shiny, like he was the embodiment of evil. And because you had embodiment of evil here, everyone else was diametrically opposed to it. Everyone else was good compared to him. It was so arbitrary, you couldn't go wrong. Whereas Disney, they've inserted so much grey into that franchise. It's like you have absolutely no moral compass. You've lost absolutely. You've completely disconnected with what the audience wanted and expected based on what had came before, and now you're just producing stuff that like no one is watching. It making less and less money.
Because, like we said, it's the political agenda. For them to talk about a lot of these values instead of just black and white, good and evil, period. Because as before, we're just so happy that, there's a ghost. And then there is the Ghostbuster, period. And they fight. That's it. And that's the fun part. But now it's because one of them is... I don't know. One of them believes
the ghost wants to be human. Human wants to become ghost. They want to interchange lives, and then there is a negotiator in between.
If you think of like media that we've consumed as we growing up, you know, Ellen Ripley, Aliens, Linda Hamilton in Terminator. There's Jamie Lee Curtis in the Halloween franchise. We've got nothing wrong with like female characters as long as they're written well.
Considering that we are still talking about Star Wars, so I would like to ask you, Martin, tell me, which Star Wars character would you like to be now so you can go and demolish the entire studio?
Darth Vader. It's like the chosen one, capable of doing almost anything, being the one possessed with like the destiny to put everything right at the very end. That's basically
like Thanos and Darth Vader. It's the same, right?
We're getting closer to the end of it.
Well, going back to my own childhood, I would say that I didn't have like that many like challenges or misfortunes that like happened to me. It was the case that things were like fairly safe and easygoing, and what that meant was that I would say that didn't take any agency in my own life and development until I decided to fly to the Philippines and get married to Tanya and choose.
So wait, that was the first time you ever risked anything?
Well, I might have taken smaller risks, but that was literally the first time I'd stepped on a plane before. And it's like some people.
But what was the
flying
philosophical quotation that you wanted to tell us
from
about that?
from
Yeah.
Aurelius.
Well, it's Seneca.
Yes,
it was one that's. I judge you unfortunate because you have never lived through misfortune. You have passed through life without an opponent. No one can ever know what you are capable of, not even you. And
True.
I saw that and I realized, like, wow, it's like my life has never been, or certainly up until like a point when I was younger, I'd never been pushed by something but really bad happening to me. And that means that I credit my parents for wanting to give me the best life that they thought possible.
For protecting you and sheltering
arguably
you.
They did too well of a job. And
the first thing you do is get on a plane and come to the Philippines to marry Tanya.
Well, it's like
I'm such a special girl.
love is an important motivator in all of our lives.
Absolutely.
Very nice.
And
yes,
I'd never dreamed of committing to anyone to the degree that I would want to put a ring on their finger. But Tanya meant so much to me. Well, that's it. I crossed oceans and mountains and continents to the other side of the world just because I wanted Joel to be my best man at my wedding. So it's like I hadn't taken any major risks before, and that was kind of partly down because my parents were so supportive. I never had to want to risk anything.
This was when you turned 30 only, right?
Thereabouts, yeah.
Yeah. This was your choice. When you work at the cinema as a projectionist, you thought that, I love this so much. And you thought being safe around that kind of creativity and also that kind of hobby made you feel like, I like it here. But eventually when you step out of the world, you're like thinking, who am I?
Well, yeah. And what happened with the cinema, because that was such a perfect bubble, for me, that it was the case. I've described it as I had the perfect job. I don't have it now. It's like the perfect job was me was being paid to watch movies for free. And then I would do that nearly every week. It became so much of a rinse and repeat enclosed bubble that it meant that I never wanted to do anything different. But the only reason that bubble popped is because the firm made me redundant. So it wasn't my choice to leave the bubble. I was pushed out of it, and that was this. I think that it was within say a year and a half that I then got on the plane to the Philippines. It was only things happen, bad things happen to people at the right time to lead them to something better.
Absolutely.
And
I think I always have this belief. Whoever you believe in, so Jesus, God, universe, when you feel safe into a certain place, when it's time for you to grow, but because you're not realizing that because it's too safe and you're cuddled up, you're just safe there. Universe was just say, we need to take you out a little bit. It will do something to create that chaos, to make you realize maybe that's no longer safe for me, or maybe it's too safe, I'm not growing, or I'm too big enough for this little container, then I need to get out of that because it's getting smaller. And that's what happened to you at the cinema.
There's that old chestnut that no great story ever started with a glass of milk. It's so my life didn't get interesting until I discovered alcohol. So,
Wait. Let's tell them this. Remember when you told me when the police called your mom and dad because you were so fucking drunk on the gutter? He's not all too good, He's not all too behaved. But because what age was that?
Tell me more.
University, so probably early 20s. So it's like, but yeah, I think I was out one night with a friend. What at that time, what would happen with me is that I would obviously still quite, I would say, insular. I wasn't very good at communicating with people, and usually going out on a nighttime, Friday night in Newcastle, it's you're
School
going out
night.
because,
I like it.
well, you're going out because you want to hook up. And it's like I go to these places with my circle of friends who I'm comfortable with. I go to these places because I want to,
Hook up,
meet the opposite sex.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm also really shy, and it's like I find it really difficult to talk to people without having a bit of like Dutch courage.
Alcohol.
Yeah. So if I'm having a bad night, there's usually a tipping point where it's like it's like I've had enough alcohol to be really cool and popular with certain people, and if I haven't hooked up by here, I'll then have too much alcohol and
Hook up with a gutter.
and I'll end up in the gutter. And that's what happened on that night. It wasn't a good night for whatever reason. I think because I was with my friend Luke, and he had long black hair. He was cool, trendy.
Sorry, Luke.
He played the guitar. It was me standing next to him. I always just made him look better. So I'm sure he probably got all the attention. I wasn't getting any attention, so I just did shots, or more Jack and Coke, and to the point
Jack
where
and Coke is bad.
Yeah, it hits
messes
you
up.
differently.
You get very hoarse, like after you have
Yeah.
too much. So yeah,
So
basically.
tell
what
us
happened-
tell us about it when the police called mom and dad,
Well, it wasn't.
and
the
what
police, it
mom
was
and
the
dad's reactions are.
It was the ambulance. It was probably late at night. My mum. I don't remember any of this because this is the benefit of drinking a lot. Is that, or at
But
least
who
with
told
me,
you the whole story if you don't remember it?
my mum and dad the following day. It said like, "No, Martin, I think you had too much to drink last night." It's like the ambulance had to give us a call and tell us where you were so your dad can come and get you. And it's like, and I was like probably half dead in bed. I'm sorry. But I've had a few stories when I've been rat-arsed. Like when I went on a school trip to Paris when I was in
Oh
my
yes!
teens.
Oh my God! You should tell Joel.
You
like-
went on a school trip to Paris?
Yeah, don't worry. It's like Paris hasn't improved in my estimations like even since then. But basically, it's in the classic format. You take all these, teenage kids full of like hormones who don't really want to listen to any of the rules. You take them to a foreign country, and you tell them, "Listen, it's like it's lights out, okay? Stay in your rooms, and tomorrow morning, like we've got like this, and we want to do, okay? So, try behave yourselves." So, what did we do? As soon as the teacher's like out the door, we're out the other door. We're down to like the off license, buying like 4% like vodka called Fanny. And
What was
we're
it called?
basically
What was it
passing-
called?
Called Fanny.
Fanny!
Yeah. The French are funny.
Oh my God!
But in that point, I was drinking more because it became a bit of a drinking game, and it was the case that like, it's like so and so's drinking more booze than that guy. Oh. So it's like, give me that. Look. I finished half the bottle, and again, complete blackout. Wake up the next day, in the morning, being like kicked by like one of my classmates. Like, see, it's time to go. We're going to see the Eiffel Tower today. So it's like, I'm going, oh Christ. We dragged to the top of the Eiffel Tower, and I swear, if I had drank any more, I would have been puking up over the top, and I would have really spoiled some French person's day. But fortunately, I was just that side of like in control, and I was able to sober up by the time we got to the top.
A very different dark side of you, mate.
Yeah. Feel free to put that.
What is the lesson that you can share to your kids from all the things that you've gone through in life? What is the best lesson that you can pass on to your kids?
Everything works out in the end, and if it hasn't worked out yet, well, that's because it's not the end.
It's not the end. Yes. Well said. I like that.
Just keep going.
So what's your most memorable moment, that made you say, no matter how many times you'll be hit, you will always get back? Like, strike me down. Come on, let's go.
I've thought about this question a fair bit, and I hope you give me the leeway to explain where I'm coming from.
Sure.
But it does tie into Star Wars, which is what we're all here for. But for me, it's the music of Star Wars by John Williams. The music makes it 1,000 times more epic. And it takes what on the surface level can just be quite one-dimensional. This is me, at least anyway. It makes me think about what I'm watching a lot more. Go and check out the track called The Battle of Yavin, which is from the first Star Wars film. Essentially, it's the end of the film. Luke is in his X-Wing fighter pilot ship. His mission is that he needs to fire rockets into that exhaust port and blow up the Death Star, save the day, save the universe, and the Rebel Alliance. Thing is, if the music wasn't there, it would be boring as hell. It's like the music elevates that scene. It gets your blood pumping. It makes that scene so much more powerful. It's to the point now where I can just close my eyes and I can see the pictures rolling in my head because I've got the soundtrack running. And it's so inspirational to me. That scene is quite significant because I look at it in a different way. There's one point in that scene where he's flying down the trench. Every single pilot who's came ahead of him is dead or has had to fly out of the trench. So he is literally the last hope. A new hope, if you will. But the music is pounding, the tension is rising, and what happens at that moment is that he does what he thinks that he has to, which is he turns on his, presses a button, he turns on his guidance computer, and comes out, he starts looking at it. The clock starts to count down to the target. He does that because every single person who travelled down that trench did that before him, and everyone else who did that has failed. That mechanism that he thought was there to help him was always going to fail. It's like, and what happens is that it takes Obi-Wan to tell him, say, Luke, trust your feelings, which is essentially to trust in yourself, to believe in yourself. He presses the button, he turns the guidance computer, and the button turns green. He's made the right choice. Music starts like to pound. It gets more emotional. You see, the TIE fighters are coming in, like getting closer. They're about like to fire on Luke and take him out, but he believes in himself.
You're getting emotional, babe. I can tell from your voice. This is why you wear shades, so they won't show, tears won't show.
Yes, basically. So you'll have to cut that. So by believing in himself, it's the case that he does what he has to. He still does what he has to. He does it with the correct purpose. By applying the correct purpose, he is focused on what he is doing, but he is not blinded by other things that distract him, able to achieve what was impossible.
Martin, this is example you have given, is this any memory that you have done yourself?
Yes.
Is this why you can relate to that scene?
Yeah, I was thinking on the same lines.
Yeah.
To tie it back, when you're 13 miles into a 13.1 mile half marathon, and you've been listening to the soundtracks of Star Wars running through, like, it's incredible in terms of pursuing that which you have to do, but with the correct purpose. And it's like, and that is like pushed me through a lot of difficulties in past events in my life, because it has inspired me to do the right thing with the correct purpose to achieve that which is necessary. And that is one of the reasons why I love Star Wars so much.
What's one thing you're leaving behind after today's conversation? You're looking at your cheat sheet again.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
In terms of this conversation, I've just found it massively cathartic. When you do live in escapism, or inside your own head, in your own imagination, those things are important and incredibly useful. But if that is if that's only what you do, then you blind yourself to reality. Reality means that you need to talk about and communicate with other people as well. And even if that's talking about yourself or things that you love, it's if all you do is live inside your head, it'd be the case that you miss out on so much. So what I've taken from this conversation is that it's been massively cathartic for me, because I've been able to talk about things that I wouldn't have a chance to openly talk about in any other media or any other place. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to talk about my favourite subject, which is myself. And Star Wars, which is maybe my second favourite thing.
We are equally grateful, man. You're equally grateful, and we are so glad that we're having this conversation. I think in all these years that we've known each other, we've never had such a long conversation, apart from the fact that when we were waiting outside at the airport before you guys could board the plane. Right? Yeah. I mean, because during the wedding we were all so busy, and it was a good thing that you guys had to had the opportunity to go and do another photo shoot, if you remember, right? So it's a good thing that we were all able to do all of that. But yeah, this is great. This is good, and I'm so glad that we actually got you on our pilot episode. And I know we already asked you a lot of questions, but I have one more. I think this is along the same lines what Tanya was asking. Do you have another goal in mind that you are running toward in the next few months, or maybe in a couple of years, where you will now realize that, yes, I've come a long way and I definitely did better and I am getting better? So I just want to know whether you are going to start embracing that fact rather than just beating yourself down all the time.
In terms of physical activities, and like I say, in terms of develop my own physical fitness, I've got a few events coming up. There's the Mighty Hike in September. I'm doing an inflatable assault course next month. That's I
want to know that off the record though.
Tanya's doing that as well, so that's going to be fairly interesting. But,
he's bought that ticket already. So I was thinking the other day, should I cancel it?
Oh, it's
no,
it's going to be so much.
No, you signed up for it.
Chicken. Yep. Okay, so, carry on, babe. Sorry.
And in terms of other targets that I want to set myself in the future, is that because I've said that creativity is still quite important, even though it's we all have to live in the real world, to develop my own creativity. And by that I mean that I've got loads of ideas in my head that I've never put down onto paper in any sort of significant fashion, because it takes a lot of courage to step out of your comfort zone and put yourself out there, or something that you've created out there, into the public sphere. And that's something that I've always wanted to do, but have either not had the courage to do it, or been maybe discouraged from doing it. It's oh, are you sure you want to do that? Is that a good idea? It just puts the doubts inside your mind, when really it's as I would say to my younger self, stop being afraid. Those things that you are afraid of now, those are the things you should actually be doing. Those are the things that will give you the most enjoyment going forward. And absolutely, that's what I'm going to try do in the future. I have no targets in place for definite as yet, but that's something I'm going to slowly build towards once I've got this inflatable assault course.
Awesome. Great, man. Because I'm thinking about and I'm thinking about a bright side episode now, where we talk about you again, to see how you've celebrated yourself in all these years, rather than just focusing on how you've managed to surpass certain things. I think that's going to be worth talking about. Definitely.
Yeah. It'll be an interesting conversation.
Yeah, yes. Definitely. But again, thank you very much, babe, for joining us today, for peeling yourself into a lot of layers to go through and relive your most saddest part of your life and stories and past, and also being able to share us the wisdom that you have accumulated along the way, all the challenging people including myself, that brought you, that
brought me kicking and
that.
screaming into where I am.
Exactly. Exactly. And we definitely learned so much from you. So I'm not only saying this because you're my husband and I need to be nice. No. Our goal in our podcast, Your Turn podcast, is to learn from each other. You have different ways of coping, so am I, and so Joelle is. But the purpose of here is actually finding a common ground wherein we only have one goal, is to actually being able to look back and say how proud we are of ourselves. Because as your wife, I look at you and all the things that you've done in your life and all the challenges you've surpassed. I am very proud of you. I think I always say that to you every single time you make an achievement, because I know you don't celebrate a lot. So that's probably why I exist in your life, is to always hype you up and tell you, well done, good job. Thank you very, very much. And again, we would love to have you again, of course, in a lighter note where you would talk about all the successes you've had and the creativity that you are starting to open and welcome in your life. And of course, our next episode, Joelle, we've got a very big surprise. Talk them through a little bit about it.
Well, our next episode is going to be a very interesting one, because we are going to be talking to a former colleague and a friend who has had an exposure of being in, let's say, 3 different cultures and 3 different traditions. And one of the loudest people that we know. And it is going to be so much fun, because there was a time when she made a lot of noise, and I tell you, it was all over the place. We'll know more about it when she's on the episode next time.
Yes. Keep your eyes peeled for that special guest. Then that's going to happen quite soon. So I'm really, really excited about that, because a combination of us with that person, I am quite unsure with the editing. This is what I've been telling Joelle. But that's something you need to look forward to. Thank you for being in our ride today with Martin, the dark side, and we are ending this with a lighter note. So, and as a Master Yoda once said, the greatest teacher failure is. So today, Martin proved it's okay to face your inner Vader, stumble, rise, and show up for the people you love. So whether you're a Jedi, a Sith, or just a tired and overstimulated parent, remember, the Force will be with you always.
Always. This has been Your Turn podcast. If you've got a story as wild as a cantina fight, because in this galaxy, it's your turn.
Take care, guys. Bye.
Bye.